Hi everybody, welcome back to the Whitsack Family Homestead. Promised to do videos on Sundays, and so I thought I'd log on today and talk a little bit about how we get water up to our house and how the water systems work. I'm going to turn the camera around real quick and show you the view. Last week when I videoed, there was a lot of fog down in the ravine, and today is a much clearer sunny day. We woke up with ice on the ground and it was pretty cold, but it's been warming up and it's feeling pretty comfortable out here. So let me turn my camera around. This is the view from the main entrance of our property. That's our neighbor's house there. And this is our road up to our property that leads up to our place. We have quite the view up here. Across the way are the trees from where the property is owned by the Mount Angel Abbey. And there's our barn cat up on Eric. This big tree is right towards the front of our property, and I really love it. We'll go ahead and walk down to the water tanks. Well, the water system that we use. I'm going to pause the camera for just a minute, and when we get down there, I will be able to show you how our well works and how we pump water up to our house. All right, we're getting close to the area where we go to pump our water. So up on our property, there's 2 springs and a well, and at the time we purchased it, we had a water test done, and the well test came out really good, but the spring test wasn't quite as good. So we need to do some work to clean up our spring boxes. So for right now, our water is primarily out of our well that we use for drinking. We can use the spring water for irrigating plants, things like that, but we aren't drinking that at this time. Our well is right back here. We have a little bit of a cleanup to do. Eric's been working on some projects here to kind of get this all weatherized and to rebury the watering. So yes, I'll have Eric explain kind of how it works. Now.
So this is the well. We're running power. I dug a whole ditch, and we're running power from the solar shed all the way down to here, so that way we can just fill the pressure tank. So that's why the wire's here. I got 2 valves. One runs to the house, or to our black poly tank, and the other one runs to the stainless tank up the hill, which you'll see in a minute. And for right now, what we do is we use a generator that's in the woodshed there.
So this is our generator, and this is what we have to turn on in order to pump the water up out of the well and up into the house, or to the tank. Both tanks. So there's some switch valves and things like that. And in future videos, when we go more in depth, we'll talk about that and how we actually pump this up. We may do a video when we're actually pumping the tank or pumping the well water into the tank and show exactly how that's done. But there's several switches that we have to turn to get it going. And Eric's always kind of taken charge of doing this, and he's been the one that primarily fills the tank. But during the ice and snow, little Eric and I had to do it ourselves, and we were able to do it. It wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. So that's pretty much what we use in order to get water up to our house. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to head up to the spring boxes and to our steel tank, our stainless steel tank. There's a path up here. Again, there's more wooded area up here, and at some point, yeah, this is the ditch right here where we ran pipes, and the pipes run all the way up to the house. And Eric's been working on a project where we can eventually have it set up so it's going to directly kick in, and we won't have to come out and fill the tank because it'll go straight to the house, or at least to the holding tank by the house. But at this time, we're not quite there. It's just been a work in progress. We both work full time, so we have to work these things into our schedule.
So what I did is I ran the electrical wire in conduit, even though it's outdoor wire. but we have a problem with moles and voles, so that's why the wires ran in conduit. We don't want them to bite through the conduit because it's going to be warm when we hook power through it.
So eventually that'll all be closed up. But right now we're still in the process of working on this. And this is the trail up to our water tanks, or our springs, sorry, and our steel tank. And the steel tank is the holding tank that we use to fill the water troughs for the animals, to garden, fill, or to water our garden. Fortunately, when we moved here, the folks had a pretty good setup and they already had pipes running to the garden. So it'd be fairly easy to water our garden. It's kind of all preset, so we put soaker hoses in. Eventually, we'd like to section little parts of this off for grazing for some of our, probably our goats once we get them. It's a little bit of a trek up here. We thought that this might be a trail that would be used by wildlife, but we set up a camera and really didn't catch much on the trail cam. Surprisingly enough, I thought maybe we'd catch more. We get our workout up here.
A lot of damage from them.
Oh, I don't think I've been up here since that happened.
Yeah, it is.
So the ice and snow left us with some damage. There's also a little trail there that gets us back over by the house. Yeah, that came down after. Well, after the day that I came and cleaned it up. So that's our steel tank. I'm not going to try to trek over there right now.
Oh, I gotta see how full it is.
Oh, I guess Eric's going to go ahead and check to see how full. And right behind that, well, let me pause this for just a second, and I'm going to see if I can get back there. I'll show you. Okay, here's the steel tank. And this is the tank that we use, like I'd mentioned, to fill for our garden, feeding the livestock down by the barn. And then there's the springs. These spring boxes are kind of vintage. There's two of them. There's one down there. I'm not going to try to trek down to that end. And as you can see, they aren't the cleanest. It's a little creepy. Like I said, the folks that lived here before were using this spring. Mainly what needs to be done is we need to get it cleaned out, put gravel in, and there is quite a bit of water in the springs. It's a seasonal spring, so can't be used for the full year. About 9 months out of the year is one that spring runs. So if we can get these cleaned up, eventually we will be able to utilize the spring water and hopefully possibly run it directly down so we can use it for gardening and for the livestock. And as you can see, much of this is not blooming right now, but much of this is salmon berries, which are common up in the area where we live, and the goats really like them. So we're hoping that if we get some more goats for grazing and possibly run some of the cows in this area, we'll be able to get it cleared out a little better. And these are the spigots that we use to turn on and off when we're turning tanks on and off so that the water runs to the correct tanks.
That one fills the tank, and this one we can run to the garden and everything else from the steel tank.
Okay, this is our walk back down. It really is a gorgeous day up here today. It's really warming up. It's hard to believe we're probably going to be getting more snow, but that's in the forecast. So likelihood is more snow is coming. Casper, kitty kitty. Our little barn cat who's adopted us. It was our friend's cat, and he decided he wanted to come live with us when they moved, and he's used to being out with the
Come on, Casper.
With the livestock, living in the barn. And he's decided he's one of ours. And his name is Casper. We call him Ghost also. the funny story behind that is that he first appeared in our barn shortly after we moved here. It hadn't met our neighbors yet, and I'd nicknamed him Ghost and didn't know where he'd come from. And then when we talked to them, we found out it was their cat, and his name was actually Casper. So the name fit both ways. So it's not too much of a trek to get up here and pump the water. We fill the tank. That steel tank holds quite a bit, and we don't have to fill it a whole lot, maybe every couple of weeks. The big tank to the house, I'd say we fill that about every week and a half or so. It's 3 of us living here, so we don't utilize a ton of water. We're mindful about it. But I feel so good about the water we're drinking. The water tests have come back really good, and we know that we're getting the cleanest, healthiest water up here, and that is such a relief. And as you can see, it's just absolutely gorgeous up here today. It's just a beautiful sunny day up here. And there's still frost on the ground.
Where do you want to put the trap camera?
Oh, Eric was talking about putting up another camera. We've been trying to see what wildlife might come in, and so we've got a few cameras that we scatter and kind of rotate on the property, just so we have some kind of an idea of what's coming in. As I'd mentioned before, we're going to have Pyrenees our Pyrenees are going to be guarding our goats and our sheep when we get them, and we just want to be aware of what's coming and going for the most part. I don't know where we should put it. It's just such an incredibly sunny day today. So I'm pretty excited. This little enclosure here, it's kind of veering off of our subject, but this is going to be where we're going to run the goats and the sheep, and the Pyrenees will be in with them. We are going to be rotating our pastures, but Eric's already got some posts in here, and this will be the space that they'll get to be, one of the first spaces that we'll have them. And I think they're going to be pretty happy back here. That little shelter will serve well in the beginning. Eventually I want to get this barn all refurbished and redone. It's kind of a lifted up barn. It's up off the ground, so we will kind of re-fence that area over there so nothing gets up underneath it, but eventually we will probably use it. There's some stalls inside we can use for lambing season and kidding season. Here's another angle from another view from the other direction. I'd shown this before, but that's our little fruit garden, fruit orchard, I guess. And we've got a lot of work to do. And as you can see, our biggest struggle up here has been these golfers. Nothing slows them down, and clearly they don't go into hibernation because they've been digging and digging and leaving mounds everywhere. So we do need to figure out how we're going to combat that. All right, so here's the end of that piping and my little raised bed garden, which just needs a lot of work right now, but you'll see that it kind of runs down here. We were down at that other end, and so I'll let Eric explain a little bit more. So we were having some issues down here during the snow and the ice.
It was leaking water. Our black tank was leaking water right here where I tied in a check valve because I don't want backflow back to the well. So I put in a check valve, and the weight of the snow put too much pressure on the poly pipe and kind of made it leak.
And we were filling our tank and then coming home and finding only 400 gallons left in the tank, which means we were losing massive amounts.
10 gallons of gas too.
So
this valve right here, this is to the old system, so we can always use it to fill the black poly tank, or we can use it to run to the pressure tank once it's all hooked in.
I don't know where our tool is, but we have a really cool tool that the previous owner had made, and Oh, there it is. I'll walk over and grab that real quick. And I don't know why they don't sell these in the stores. I've been looking and I can't really find anything, but he had this made. And as you can see, the bottom of it works really well because we can take it down. I'll take it up to the other tank and show you, but we can use that to turn those levers, and it works pretty well. I don't think we can see it from here on this one. You kind of have to have it where there's better light, but it works extremely well because
it goes on the handle of the ball valve.
And I don't think we have enough light down there to be able to see it, but
the way it twists.
Yeah, but you twist it,
open it,
and that opens that valve. And the valves are pretty self-explanatory. When you look at them, you can tell which way the valve's turning according to where the pipes lay. But we'll show you another one up by the tank. It'll be just a moment. So this is the back end of the solar shed. Since we're walking down here, I will show a little sneak peek of our solar panels here. Those are the panels that run power to our house. Some of the power to our house. And this little tank here, the other one just blew over during the snowstorm. But this is the tank that we use to feed to our house.
There's about 1,100 gallons in this tank right now of water.
And it holds 15. 1,500 gallons. So when we're checking the levels in the tank, we climb up here and twist off the lid and look in, and we pretty much have to judge. Can't really see it with the phone, but we pretty much have to judge how high the water is according to what the numbers are on the outside. But we can get a pretty good idea of where we're at and how much more we need to add. So, and you can see our house right through there. So it's real close to the house. And so for right now, the best setup, or the way that we're handling things, is that we're filling this tank, and then we'll take you in and show you the hot water tank in the solar shed.
Shade.
And the location of this is kind of planned too. It's a black tank, but to prevent algae, we also have it under some of the shrub that we are going to keep more wooded right around the tank to prevent any kind of algae buildup inside the tank. But we haven't had any issues so far. This has served us well, and it controls the temperature in the summer, so it's been working out pretty well. So this is the control room of our solar shed, and in the future I'll be talking more about how our power works and our battery bank, all of that. But for right now, that is the hot water heater that we use. So the water pumps into that from outside, and there's a filter here. So we run all of our water through this and into the house. And when we do come down to fill our tank, we'll shut this off. Anything else to share about that?
This will be turned off, this valve, this red one down here.
And these are the type of valves that are down in those tubes that you couldn't really see in the video. And those are what that tool helps to open and close. So that's pretty much, it's all PVC pipe throughout.
And then we will unplug the pump right here, because that pump pulls from the black poly tank. But what I've learned is the previous owner, you can see there's a pressure switch on that pump, and the previous owner couldn't figure out why the pump wouldn't shut off. You know, it just kept filling, or it won't turn on, and you know, everything. But when I researched it, the problem was, because as you can see, I put a pressure switch here. I bought a new one. I got another one up here that I bought, and they're all good. But after I researched it, I found out that I just needed to lower the pressure in the bladder in the pressure tank. And now it works great.
So throughout all of this, it's been a lot of trial and error. We've been doing a lot of learning as we go, just to try to understand how everything works. We'll be doing future episodes about our power system, like I mentioned, but that is our main controls to the power to the house. And we'll do several videos about that in the future. But today I'm just going to focus just on the water. I think that's about it. We have a little hot water heater inside the house that heats the it's an automatic propane.
Hot water on demand.
On demand hot water, automatic. Can be a little too hot at times, but it's actually worked out pretty well though. And eventually we're hoping to have a cabin home, but for right now it's the manufactured home, and the hot water heater's been working pretty well. So okay, I thought I'd just finish the video off by showing the view that we have from our front porch. So this is the porch at the house, and we still need to do some better fencing around here for the dogs, but this is where we let our dogs out. This is the view that we saw the first time we came up. We were standing on the porch, and it just felt right, and I didn't know how the heck we were going to do this. And I'll talk in future videos about how we went about getting approved for a loan for this property and letting our dream come true, I guess. But I knew when I saw this view, this is the view that we sit and look at with a cup of coffee in the morning. It's really incredible. And you can hear my neighbor's dogs and my dogs. My dogs see me out on the porch, and then they're barking because they hear the neighbor's dogs as well. And the cow enclosure is right over there. So oftentimes in the morning, our cows will come up to say hello, and they're right over in the woods over there. So I think I'm actually hearing some of the neighbors' pigs as well. Anyway, this is it. Like I mentioned, we're going to be doing some future videos. I'm going to try to do a little video today also of just the drive up to our place, so you guys can see kind of what that looks like. We feel really fortunate. We really love it up here. It's kind of like its own little world up here. We go through that gate, and all the stress of the world kind of leaves us behind, and we enjoy just the peace and quiet that is usually up here. Today there's a lot of barking dogs and squealing pigs, but for the most part it's usually pretty quiet up here. So I don't know what, I've never heard the pigs carry on like that, so I don't know what's going on. Eric and I are going to have to go down there and investigate. So if we find out, I might come back on for a short little video. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in. There'll be many more videos to come, and I'll get better at learning how to videotape things so it doesn't look so ragged in the video and it's easier to see. I'm not a camera person. I'm just wanting to share this with friends and family so that people can see kind of where we're at and how we live. I hope everybody's having a wonderful Sunday and you have a great week, and we will be posting something again next Sunday. God bless. Talk to you all soon.